Hi there, it's Carolyn again, welcoming you back to our Simple Abundance year. Annabelle's here. I disturbed her afternoon sunbathing, and so I decided to come down and sit here with her. So she's going to be along here for this entry. This is August 12th on our Simple Abundance year with Sarah Ban Beathnach's book, Simple Abundance. And we are in the section of the book talking about creativity. And I was thinking before I hit the button to start the video about all the ways that Sarah has been talking to us about wholeness and union with self and listening to the urgings of our deep down hidden self, that authentic part of you. And we were getting kind of into it at the beginning of the year, asking questions, trying to figure out where we were and consider a lot of things. We had a whole section about fashion and whether we were feeling like our outward appearance was projecting to the world what we want to project. And that whole section about the home. And we talked about food and things that we're consuming. And now this is just another way of getting in touch with ourselves. So I just wanted to say before I talk too much about this that if you've been struggling a little bit with some of the entries recently because you're just thinking like, I don't have time to be creative, or I don't want to be creative, like I've never had any grand designs to write a symphony or a book or paint or anything like that, don't think about this only in terms of art. This can be expression. This can be creating a family. This can be creating a business. I mean, Sarah said something to the effect of, it's at the core of our human nature to create. Like, we're always, like, think about all the inventions that have come out. We're kind of always searching for that next thing. So I don't want you to worry about whether you're creative or not. I think we probably all feel like we're not. Or we feel like we used to be, and we've kind of lost touch with that. And we have already talked about getting rid of the inner voice that is possibly asking like, why are you doing this? You don't want to be on the Oprah book club, or you won't make it, or whatever, like those negative things that other people could say as well. But the whole reason for giving yourself this creative time that we've talked so much about is to make you more of a conduit for the spiritual guidance and message and urgings from that inner voice of your own. So those are just my thoughts before I say anything about today's entry. It is about the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And I mentioned it when we went through the August Joyful Simplicities. And if you're not familiar with this book, it's definitely something to look into. It's more than a book, it's a lifestyle. And there's, I forget the time frame, it might be 3 months of a period of time that you go through the book. And there's questions, there's daily time that you set aside for your projects. And it's very introspective and is helping you to let out the creativity that's inside. So don't worry if you, like, you could be like me, like I love to decorate. So that's absolutely creative expression. Or I like to sing, or I like to talk to people. There's so many things where you're creating connections. I love the YouTube channel. You could be creating through travel. Anyway, the possibilities are endless, so don't worry if you're not Picasso or something. So Julia tells us sometimes we have specific creative longings we would love to be able to fulfill. Learning to play the piano, painting, taking an acting class, or writing. Sometimes our goal is more diffuse. We hunger for what might be called creative living. an expanded sense of creativity in our business lives, in sharing with our children, our spouse, and our friends. So it's creative living. It's not just about the time that you're setting aside for that project. It's actually about a way of life. She goes on to say, many of us have unconsciously erected seemingly insurmountable barriers to protect ourselves from failing or succeeding. We may think we're protecting ourselves by ignoring or denying our creative impulses, but really all we're doing is burying our authentic selves alive. That sounds awful. Don't do it. However, as you slowly learn to remove the rubble of opinions and judgments of others and exchange a limiting, toxic interpretation of misery, mean-spirited God, for what Julia calls a, quote, good orderly direction. Remember we talked about that? G-O-D, good orderly direction, of a loving and supportive great creator. We talked about that yesterday. Not only will you encourage the inner artist, but you'll come to respect your art as a powerful, personal form of worship. See, we've talked about so many things. Like, I'm thinking back to when we were in the bathroom, and the bathtub was like a time for immersion, spiritual immersion, literally in the bathtub. So this is another form of self-care and worship. I like that. Spirit speaks to you constantly throughout your day. You may experience a hunch, perk up at the suggestion of a friend, or follow an urge to try something new on a whim. Train your heart to listen. Today, adjust your spiritual satellite. I like that. That's pretty cool. So that's, again, like we were talking about, those ideas that come, and you have to be at the right frequency or the right channel for them to stick. And then you have to want to do something with them too, like we talked about. Tune in to the higher harmonic frequency for help as you continue your authentic, artistic pilgrimage to wholeness. That's really cool. So much to think about with this one. First of all, have you set aside some time to do some of these things? Have you thought about what you might want to do? Or maybe it's just about seeing the creativity that's already there in your life, or the opportunities to add a little bit more in. Like she mentioned, the lifestyle of like having more things in your relationships and your family and at work. So possibilities abound. I'm so creative. Like whenever, if I'm ever in a job interview or something, if they ask me what my strengths are, it's like creativity is right there. And I feel like I've shared with you guys that I have to express. So I like when whatever I'm doing involves some sort of creation, because I get pleasure from that. I like to figure things out. I think sometimes that is a part of creativity, when you're putting pieces together. Like I've mentioned, I like puzzles, but even in life, like putting things together. So there's a lot of ways to use creativity. You don't have to be a creative director somewhere. You could be creative being a lawyer or policeman or something like that. So don't let the thought of what being an artist is scare you. And you can live the artist's way without becoming a famous composer or author or singer or something. All right? Give this some thought. I will see you tomorrow for the next video. It's, again, interesting to be coming to you every day, because sometimes I feel more of a resonance with some entries than others. So this is the first month I've challenged myself to do one every day. And I don't expect that will continue once August is over, but it's allowing me to do shorter videos too. So hopefully if you're needing to catch up on any, or if you have limited time in the summer, it's making it easier to follow the channel. As always, thank you for being here. I appreciate your feedback, and I love that some of these are really touching you already in positive ways, because I can sense that from your comments. Again, I'll see you tomorrow and for the next video. Okay.